Hey Ram fans, Mark from Rams Up here on the road recording from a hotel room, so bear with me here. I dropped a pod right after the game, covering the game extensively. The Bills 31-10 win at SoFi, quite the debacle it was. But I wanted to follow up with a few items of interest that have come up since then. A couple of injuries worth noting. Brian Allen, our starting center, out 2 to 4 weeks, and Kyren Williams, the rookie offensive lineman, out 6+ weeks. And on top of that, Joseph Noteboom, apparently nursing a MCL strain in his knee, and he is hopefully going to be okay for Atlanta, but the Rams will have to do some reshuffling of an offensive line that struggled against the Bills. That's an understatement. So what they're going to do is Coleman Shelton, the right guard, is going to move over to center. Tremaine Ankrum will get plugged in at right guard. Feel good about him. I think he'll do a good job. The question is, what was the problem with the offensive line in the first place? Can they get things patched up? I certainly hope so. Atlanta coming to town from a week from Sunday. So that's the injury. That's the news on the injury front. I wanted to touch on some snap counts. Cameron DeSilva shares this stuff online, and so happy he does. It's really good information, and I appreciate it. Some snap counts of note I'll share with you. Justin Hollins and Terrell Lewis, 35 and 23 snaps respectively, opposite of Leonard Floyd. So splitting it up somewhat evenly, leaning more on Hollins. So they're sharing duties there, which is kind of what we expected. Probably the most interesting thing out of the snap counts, in my opinion, was Taylor Rapp out there for 100% of the snaps at safety. Nick Scott, second most snaps, and Jordan Fuller, the third most. And I know a lot of Ram fans, from what I have read and heard, are not big fans of Rapp, but the defensive staff apparently is. And he had a couple of big hits in that game. I'm not sure what his Pro Football Focus grades are, but right now he appears to be our number one safety. And I think that's going to be a surprise to a lot of people. Tutu Atwell, 7 snaps. Cam Akers, 12 snaps. And I wanted to talk a little bit about something I shared in the podcast that I kind of got wrong a little bit. I talked at length about, actually, I didn't talk enough about what a great game Cooper Kupp had. I mentioned it in passing, and then when I got to the player of the game segment, I mentioned Josh Allen from the opposite side, and then I talked about Darrell Henderson and Troy Hill, and I forgot to mention Cooper Kupp, so bad on me. But then in my defense, he's a player of the game every week, week in and week out. Seems like forever. So I think moving forward, maybe to make sure this doesn't happen again, I'm just going to say, hey, aside from Cooper Kupp, who are the players of the game, and I won't get into trouble like that again. And another guy I forgot to mention was Matt Gay. Should have included him in that group. Tip of the hat to Matt Gay. 57-yard field goal. His kickoffs were perfect, and that 57-yarder could have easily, from what we saw, could have made it from 65 yards, I think. So I'm starting to feel as good about Matt Gay as I did about Greg the Leg back in his heyday. I got no concerns, no issues with our kicking game at this point. So hats off to Matt Gay and those other 3 guys, including Cooper Kupp. Shame on me. I'll make sure that doesn't happen again. So that's all I got for now. I'll be dropping another video probably in the next few days, and a podcast coming up. Sunday night, Monday morning. I obviously won't have a Rams game to cover like I typically would. And then, of course, we'll follow that up on Thursday with a preview of the Rams-Falcons game. So the Sunday drop will just be a review of all the other Sunday action, any Rams news that I have to share at that point. So that's it for now. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Keep your heads up, Ram fans. We're going to get a win at home against Atlanta. We're going to go to Arizona, trounce them like we always do, and we'll be 2-1 heading up north to play the 49ers, and that will be a fun one. Out here from Rams Up.